dream is over. Well, I don't know if you knew that. I didn't know that until I read The Verge today.
Okay.
And they told me the dream is dead. That's their words. Mm-hmm. They said Apple will never switch to USB-C for the iPhone. Mm-hmm. Never. It's a big word. Never. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you know what? It says near future. It doesn't actually use the terminology never.
Yeah. There's still hope.
But it's probably not going to happen, according to Ming Chi. And he's saying it would just be too much of an impact on their accessory business built around that lightning port. And it also mentions something interesting that I didn't think about, or I don't think a lot of people thought about, or they're just using it as an excuse, which is that apparently their lightning port has a slightly better durability, water resistance rating than a USB-C port. Something along these lines, which I don't know. I'm skeptical because you see all kinds of mil-spec stuff on other phones that have Type-C. Apple themselves, make devices with Type-C, although I guess those ones aren't meant to be pocketed like the iPads and whatnot and the laptops. So it's a different kind of thing. But look, people like when something is easy, convenient. People like the one cable to rule them all. It's been a nightmare leading up to this point. Multiple cables, chargers, things like this. And USB-C was supposed to solve that, at least the connector. And Apple successfully resisted it without very much consequence. It's not like anybody stopped buying iPhones because of it, even though there are some significant advantages to it. And so since it looks like Apple's not going to switch at all, it means there is work to be done on their MagSafe technology, because that means your upcoming iPhones are portless, as we've seen rumored. That you would have to charge via MagSafe exclusively. And that would be with their little disc pattern situation on the back. Now, at the moment, it's not the fastest charging in the world, but it's also not as slow as some early version wireless charging either. So, I don't know. I think they're getting like 15 watts on that thing.
But that's the future, right?
I guess. But, there's going to be people that argue about efficiency. There's going to be people out there that argue that the cable is more effective for them for reason X, Y, Z. And I hear that as well. I mean, ideally, and this seems to be a thing with Apple, they want the adoption of their decisions, of their features to happen rapidly. And in order to achieve that, you have to eliminate the old version of it. It's like we talked about, why can't you have Touch ID and Face ID, as an example? Or why can't you have Type-C on the MacBook and MagSafe? Yeah. Like it's always like it has to go, and there's a reason for it, right? It accelerates adoption of the new technology. It also makes a boatload of money for people who have to change the cables and things like this. And in this case, you could have said, well, what's wrong with MagSafe and USB Type-C on the next generation phone? But they would want to be that first company to say, we don't need no port.
Right.
We don't need no stinking port.
Yeah.
They will want to have that. I mean, much in the same way when the Power Brick came out, the package, like that's step one.
Yeah.
No more Power Brick. Guess what? No more port.
It just shows Apple has a pretty clear vision, and they're sticking to it.
Well, and they can do it, right? So for those wondering or thinking about it, it's like in the Android space, they got to be competitive amongst one another. And if somebody offers you a slight edge and gives you, I don't know, an extra port or adopts a technology sooner or gives you more versatility in your port options, let's say, if a company can't do that, well, you go flip to some other one that can. On the iOS side, the lock-in is just a little bit different, where you're a little more willing to adjust to their way of life, because unless you want to switch platforms completely, you see what I mean? It's just a deeper hook. The hook is in deeper. We go fishing, which they do on a daily basis. They're fishing for your money. So I don't know how much this matters to people. I know some people are really against the idea of a portless iPhone, but it's looking more likely. At this point, you're sitting there saying, man, if they don't do it on the next gen, well, then why do it at all, right? As far as the USB Type-C is concerned. And anyway, it's coming on Ming Chi's latest report, so take it for what it's worth, but he's been pretty accurate in the past. He says there's more information in his report, by the way, about the future iPhone lineup, including a smaller notch, faster refresh rate, which we talked about in the past, and rumors of a hole punch camera in 2022 and a potential 8-inch foldable iPhone that could launch as early as 2023. That brings us to today's sponsor, which is MeUndies. And I don't know if you knew this, Will, but MeUndies believes undies aren't just what you put on under your clothes. That's not what they are. They're not just that. No, you do that, but they're not just that. They believe undies are the most important layer. Okay. You know, it sets the stage for the other layers. It's like the foundation. You start with a good layer. You start with a good low down layer, and then you build on something robust.
Foundation's important.
You see, if you go with a weak foundation, then everything else suffers that you put on top of it, because deep down, deep seat in the back of your head, you know, you're like, I skimped on the undies.
Sure.
I skimped on those undies.
Yep.
And now no matter what kind of name brand I put on top of it, I know the truth. I'm slacking down low.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's not what happens. Actually, it's the opposite with MeUndies. These are the softest things you're going to put on your body. That's from personal experience. I'm wearing these right now. People didn't believe me before the show. You know, Vin called me out. He said, "Prove it." I had to hit him with the waistband. I said,
show him.
I had to hit him with the waistband and say, "Look at me.
No pants down.
I'm softer than you right now.
Go all the way.
I'm softer than you right now."
Okay, yeah.
And so I tell you what, man, gives you a little extra confidence throughout the day when you're going around the house just in the undies or the pants that they sell. Your comfort level is increased, your relaxation, knock a few stress points down, and everybody needs some of that. They got all kinds of colors. It's not just undies, like I said. They got the PJs over there. Men, women represented. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Boxer briefs, trunks, whatever you like. There's packs and accessories on there as well. They got face masks going on. So different styles and sizes for absolutely everyone. They have a great offer for you guys. For any first-time purchaser, you get 15% off and free shipping. And they have their problem-free philosophy. If you're not satisfied with any product for any reason, they'll refund or exchange it. No questions asked. Right now, 15% off your first order plus free shipping, 100% satisfaction guarantee. Just go to meundies.com/LouLater. That's meundies.com/LouLater, or just click the link down in the description of this video. It could be a bit faster for you. Just don't forget the /LouLater in order to get your 15% off. I don't know if you saw this one, Will. This is our old pal from Strange Parts. I think you were on that trip where we met up in China.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Scotty, yeah, we went to the
guy.
bar, and I think we ate some, what do we have, a cheeseburger or something? I don't even know.
We did. We went to the burger joint, right?
We did, right? Mm-hmm. Anyway, he was a local to Shenzhen. I don't know if he's living there anymore, but he was a local at the time, so he kind of showed us around. He took us to the market, and so yeah, shout out to Scotty, his channel, Strange Parts. He's still goofing around, and I mean that in the best way. Still trying to get his hands on components and do some unusual things. And this is his latest entry into that category. Here we have him pairing a foldable display with a Raspberry Pi in order to imagine what a foldable iPhone will be like. So he was able to pick up some of these displays on, was it AliExpress? I can't remember where he ordered them from. I think that's what he said. Some sort of commerce site like that. And he actually paid quite a bit of money. I was surprised to find out he paid around $500 for each of these. It's just a component, you know, it's just a screen. You can't do much. I mean, mostly for testing at this point. He believes the manufacturer is, who's the display manufacturer out of China doing bendable?
Was it BOM?
No, B. Oh, wow. It's a total massive fail. I mean, we should lose our jobs for this. BO, display manufacturer China. That's what we need to do right now. We can't fade on this. I know because Apple was actually granting some contracts to this company, and they were like a new player, and then all of a sudden their quality, BOE. All of a sudden their quality improved, quality assurance, and then they were considering them for some of the iPhone displays. Of course, we hear about all kinds of other names in the display category from Samsung to LG, but these guys continue to gobble up some market share. Anyway, it appears that these components were sourced from there, and in order to get iOS onto these flexible displays, he used an AirPlay protocol to a Raspberry Pi, which he then displayed over HDMI from the Raspberry Pi to a controller into the flexible display. So hardly a working phone. And I thought, okay, this is a cool idea for a video, show what an iPhone or iOS looks like on a flexible display. But then he went further to say, no, I'm going to try to make an actual phone, a whole thing with this display. And I was like, oh God, that's quite an undertaking. Apparently he has a partner here who has some hardware hacking expertise. So we'll see how this plays out. But you can imagine trying to figure out what even is your chassis, like what is the body of the phone if you're hoping to show off the fact that the display is flexible. You can't just, and you have all these extra components too. If assuming he's going to use these with those boards and those adapters, how's he fit it all in? It's a huge undertaking. But apparently he's actually going to work on it and try to make it real. For now, it's a little bit of a demo on what it might be like. And it's kind of cool to see how the access to these flexible technologies has changed to the point where you can just pick up a couple of units, just an everyday person. Once upon a time, this was something they had a couple units at CES type thing.
Right.
And now anybody can pick this up and start testing with it and working with it. And so that's kind of cool. Next up, we have some iPhone 13 speculation. I've obviously heard about the LiDAR across the board. I've heard about the refresh rate improvement. This is just one more spec that some may be curious about. Supposedly, we're going to be looking at a 1 terabyte storage option for some models, which is that's quite a bit of local storage. But the thing to consider is they've been making this move with the large file sizes for the photos with the RAW. What are they calling it? RAW? Pro RAW? I can't remember the name they're using right now. Is that it, Will? Yeah, Pro RAW. Pro RAW files are 10 to 12 times larger than HEIF or JPEG files, which means users would need a great deal more on-device storage. So for people who are using these things in a semi-professional prosumer type sense and are going to be storing a ton of these Pro RAW files, which that's kind of the state of things in 2021, man. It's, people are doing more and more work on these phones and more work with these phone cameras. Anyway, you got to store the stuff locally. And sure, you could move the stuff to iCloud or something, but you're paying for that, and it might just be a quicker process to have it local. So the 1 TB option is going to be there. But you know what else this is going to mean, Will? This is going to mean some pretty hefty price tags for the highest level iPhone. And people are going to you're going to see all the videos unboxing the $2,000 iPhone or whatever one it happens to be, because it's going to obviously be the top premium tier unit that would carry such a spec. Speaking of iPhones not carrying a hefty price tag, the iPhone SE, we have some sort of a fiasco in Brazil. I had some fun reading this one. Brazil has distributed enterprise iPhone SE devices to public prosecutors. I guess these are government officials, and they're not happy about it. Now, let me break it down for you real quick here, Will. First of all, iPhones are expensive in Brazil, for one. Taxes, tariffs, whatever leads you there. This group of individuals, the public prosecutors, they're high-end employees. Some of these guys apparently can receive up to $20,000 a month. These are some high-level types over here.
Okay.
I presume a prosecutor, they're lawyers, right? So, but on behalf of the government. Anyway, they're getting their new phones rolled out because they've been on some old phones that were supplied to them, iPhone 7. And they find out they're going to get this upgrade, except it's not going to be to an iPhone 12. It's going to be to an iPhone SE. And now I know a lot of people, based on my experience on this very YouTube channel and others, I know a lot of people would not mind having themselves a little iPhone SE action. This particular guy, not so much. So Marco Tulio Lustosa Camina, who's a public prosecutor in Brazil, in one of the northeastern states, wrote in a group chat on February 9th. We received an email asking if we wanted only the Claro SIM or to continue receiving a SIM with a device, with the disclosure that if we choose the last option, it's going to be an iPhone SE. 3 exclamation points. All right, keep listening. Do you really think that after more than 3 years with an iPhone 7 already outdated, slow processor, bad battery, small screen, we are going to accept for another 30 months an iPhone SE? I don't think anyone here is a kid.
Jeez.
Coming hard at it.
The SE?
Coming hard at it. Keeps going.
Harsh.
It's insulting. We are over a year working from home. What is this mess? Are they trying to humiliate us? I don't accept this humiliation. I think we should be respected. Whoa. I'm sitting here thinking, now, I don't know if this guy's making $20K a month, but I'm like, if you don't really like don't you just buy whatever you want and use that? Am I crazy? I don't, is that a crazy idea? But anyway, apparently he was, it sounds to me like a guy who had already banked on getting the 12 and was looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And just assumed it was going to be the 12 and then saw the SE and vented a little bit. Now, I don't know how exactly this group chat leaked out or if it was intended to, but it appears there is some frustration there. You guys tell me in the comments, are you ever going to be that mad about an iPhone SE? Is this guy out of line or does he deserve more? You tell me. I don't know if you saw this, Will, the new DJI FPV drone. It's a real thing. I think we saw some clips of it earlier, but like it's out now. And this is a mixture. It's like a hybrid. It's kind of like one of those racing drones, but it's also a cinema drone for shooting video and all that. Cool. And it's, I believe it's the fastest drone that they've done, DJI. Now, a lot of people who don't know about the racing drone scene, there are faster drones out there than this one. I'm not saying I know a lot about it, but I do know that much.
Yes, the racing ones.
Those racing ones can fly, man. Mm-hmm. I think we have an actual reading here on the article about how fast they can get.
I mean, this setup looks really cool.
Yeah, that's their new drone.
Especially the goggles.
Let me see something right here. How fast do those racing drones go? I promise you it was in here. Oh, there we go. The DJI FPV can't quite match the 120 mile per hour top speeds of pro racing drones.
And they turn on a dime.
120 miles per hour, dude. 120, like we're not talking KMs like Team Canada over here.
Uh-huh.
Talking about miles per hour. Mm-hmm. And but anyway, this new one has a top speed. The new DJI product has a top speed of 87 miles per hour. It's no joke. It can go from 0 to 62 in just 2 seconds. That's as fast as that car, right there. Right there. That's faster than that car.
Yeah.
0 to 62 in 2 seconds. We should have a race or something. Should we do that?
Let's set it up.
Should we do that race, the new FPV drone versus that? And anyway, the key thing here is, yes, you can still shoot great video with it, but really it's going to bring the racing drone experience to a lot more people because of, DJI, the brand name and whatnot. And so unlike the cinema type drones where you're going to have a screen and a controller, it's going to put a lot of people inside the headset and they're going to feel like a bird over there. Mm-hmm. Flying, man. And it's a type of experience. I haven't had it yet.
You have to be sitting down to demand this. This is...
No. These guys,
look how crazy
they stand up, man. I mean, they don't stand on the edge of a cliff or anything, but they stand up a minute, or I'll sit down. It doesn't, whatever.
Yeah,
look at it following these cars, man.
I mean, come on. I would totally fall over.
No, it is very cool stuff, and people are gonna do amazing cinematography they weren't doing before because now they got this maneuverability and speed, and they're gonna figure out how to use it. And the clips are about to come, and they're gonna be pretty nice, and you get to look very futuristic with that particular headset on. Anyway, it is available now. It can shoot 4K 60 video with rock steady image stabilization and a 120 megabit per second bit rate. And it has a 150 degree wide angle lens, a 1 by 2 3-inch CMOS sensor. And what else? DJI Mini 2's chip. So it's an interesting choice for people now. Now, it's not going to be cheap, obviously. It'll cost you a few dollars. I don't know if they actually listed the price. Oh, they do. They have the price here, $12.99. The standard DJI FPV combo, which includes the FPV drone, remote control, and the goggles, is $12.99. And if you need more range, you can get the Fly More kit, which gives you 2 extra batteries and a dedicated charging hub for an extra $2.99. And then the optional motion controller is available for an extra $1.99. So you could kit it out to, you could spend some money on it, but it looks like the main kit, $12.99. Seems kind of reasonable for what it is. I don't know. That's my point of view, but it's hard to know because you're wondering what the market is right now, given the landscape of things, people's disposable income and such at the moment. Are people goofing around with drones as much? I don't know. But if you were going to be, you might set your sights on this one because you can have some fun. You don't even need to be shooting video, Will. I really believe you could go out to a nice landscape and just want to fly.
Just fly, yep.
You know, it might not even necessarily be about the video. OnePlus has teased a moonshot announcement for March 8th, which that's pretty soon, right? What's today? Yeah, a few days from now. More details to come. Not very much being shared, although people obviously speculating what it's about. The image, something new is on the horizon. The image is significant. It is important because it appears to have been taken originally, this image, by a Hasselblad camera. And the rumor is that OnePlus has teamed up with Hasselblad on this next generation, next flagship phone, the OnePlus 9. So they're saying that this photograph looks like the famous Earthrise photo from the Apollo 8 mission, and that was taken with a Hasselblad camera. You see where I'm going here, Will? So they're hinting at it, and they're happy about their partnership. And anyway, there's supposed to be a OnePlus 9, a 9 Pro, and a 9R, and a smartwatch coming, all in March over here.
Wow.
It's quite a few. Wow, all of those in March? OnePlus 9, 9 Pro, and 9R. Crazy. All right. Launching March the 8th. That might be the most devices they've ever talked about at one event. And I don't know what the R stands for, but anyway. This was shared on Pete Lau's his Twitter account. So here are some other rumors about the OnePlus 9. It's said to include wireless fast charging at 45 watts. The regular OnePlus 9 non-Pro expected to have a 6.55-inch flat display, 120 hertz 1080p. And the 9 Pro is a little bit bigger, 6.78 inches, 120 hertz, 1440p. Snapdragon 888 for both. And the R or the Lite could be announced. Oh, okay. So it would have an older 865 processor. So that would be your distinction between, they could use the R, which is odd because often R is like a performance letter.
Yeah, like Type R.
Type R in cars are, we have the Sony cameras, A7R.
Although Apple used it for a lower version.
10R.
Right, the 10R.
You're right. What did the R stand for on the 10R? Did they ever share that, or they just used it? People had to speculate. All right, they can let us know. People can let us know in the comments. On the iPhone 10R, what did the R stand for? Anyway, it looks like OnePlus could use that name, or they could call it the OnePlus 9 Lite, which is obviously immediately understandable. I don't know if you saw this, Will. Amazon got in trouble with some logo icon update.
No.
I never even saw this thing. Apparently, okay, so if you scroll down, the logo or the icon on the left, they say it looked like Hitler's mustache over there. That's the one on the left. Like a mustache, like the short mustache over top the smiley face.
The blue.
Now, it was supposed to be indicative of like the seal, of like the tape.
Sure. Yeah.
And of course, people, it's 2021.
This one looked more Hitler?
That's what they said.
Than this one?
Oh, you feel like they didn't fix it at all?
No.
Oh, okay. That was their way of fixing it. The one on the right. It's a slight update because you can see some of the tweets over here, and people were having a laugh on it. They quietly tweaked it.
You know what? Yeah, the one on the left does look
more like a mustache, right?
Sure,
Because you
yeah.
see how they shrunk it this way, first of all, and then they lifted one edge. Like you don't have a mustache that does that goes diagonal over there on the side.
Unless you're being extra.
Oh, that's a lot of work, man. That's some next level
Appealing mustache.
type of. Now the crazy part about this, and they mention it in the article here, is that mustache, people had that mustache before Hitler, but then Hitler had it, and then nobody could ever have it after that. It's crazy how that can work. Or like you talk about symbols and things like this. It's like if once it hits a certain thing, it's like no, we're done with that. Nobody's gonna use it. I mean, even you got Charlie Chaplin over here. Even, I mean, it even looks weird to see him with that, doesn't it? And he had it first. He had it first. Before Hitler, and still you look at that now and you're like, oh man. Interesting. But I guess he was doing an act. I don't know that he wore a mustache outside of the act because I see some pictures of him.
Yeah, without
mustache. It. Anyway, it's crazy. You know Amazon doesn't want to be associated with it, so they went in there and they quietly tweaked it. I think we have a quote over here. Amazon spokesperson. Amazon is always exploring new ways to delight our customers. We designed the new icon to spark anticipation, excitement, and joy when customers start their shopping journey on their phone, just as they do when they see our boxes on their doorstep. They want to spark anticipation, excitement, and joy, and nothing else. No thoughts of any violence and evil and world wars, and they don't want to be, so they just tweak it. And they're like, all right, fine. Is this better now? But I don't know. You didn't see it at first. But
no, it took me, a little bit.
But other people did. And you know how that goes? It's like the top comment effect. It's like if you're the first one to notice it, and then you publish that to Twitter, and people are like, oh, yeah, and then retweet, and then it just flows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It just flows, doesn't it? So anyway, quiet little tweak from Amazon. Oh, man. So I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole here because I originally saw this article about how people were using their PlayStation 5s to mine Ethereum.
Oh, can you do that?
And that's exactly my thought. I'm like, wait a second. And they were showing images and screenshots and
like Hive OS kind of.
Not even. Okay, so first of all, not even enough to say, hey, we're mining on PlayStations, but we're mining at an incredible rate at 99 megahash. Okay, so not only are we mining
PS5?
Yeah, we're crushing on the PS5. And I think that's what got the crypto types a little bit upset because they were like, let me look into this. There's no way you're doing that in an enclosed platform inside of a chassis with heat and everything else that you're dealing with.
Does it have like a mini fire on top of it?
It definitely would if that was what was happening. So people look into it and they said, nah, these reports are bogus. I mean, as far as I know, I think there's only one card that is capable of hashing above 100 mega hash right now, which is a 3090, and it's an open air card, or well, at least all the what do they call it? The manufacturer ones like MSI and these types. Those ones are open air, and it's all the latest technologies. It's completely top of the line type of card. So when you hear that it's happening in the PS5, you're like, wait a sec, how does that? What are we talking? How does that make any sense? So the rumors originally came from Chinese forums and claimed that the PS5 was hacked to support NB Miner, which is an Ethereum mining algorithm, and that it reached 99 mega hash. Considering, and they say it was harder to believe because a tuned Radeon RX 69 XT sits around 60 mega hash, right? So they were like, that's not even on the same level. What you have in terms of hardware inside the PlayStation 5, even if you had more air getting to it, fans and all the rest of it. So that's when people became skeptical. But it appears that the whole thing was fake, and I don't know what the incentive is to create something like that. Maybe just there's a lot of you're like combining two hot stories, like availability of PlayStations. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's the reason you can't find a PlayStation. Everybody's secretly mining them or something like this.
Right.
But let me tell you something right now, Will.
Okay.
If PlayStation 5s were mining at 100 mega hash, do you want to know what they'd be selling for? Not $1,000, not $2,000. All right? So let me just put that in your ear.
Okay.
So there's no way it was going on because people would have figured it out, and Anyway, you get the point. You understand what I'm saying. But an interesting, weird little hoax. There's no way you saw this one. There's no way you saw this one. Because I saw this one and I was like, I had to read it twice. I had to do a double take on the headline. Facebook launches rapping platform Bars. Rapping. I'm talking about actual rapping.
Okay.
Doesn't that screw you up? You're like, what the?
Facebook and rapping. That's something I would never.
Oh, a
would have
Facebook
heard.
rapping platform. Like, who's using Facebook? Rappers? Is that real?
Maybe there's a niche market for it.
I don't know. I feel like Facebook often, sometimes they take this approach to try to be more accepted amongst the youth. Like,
Sure.
they don't want to let it go. That
Yeah.
it's like, man, that's not the demographic that's using Facebook right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear about something. Now, I'm not telling them not to do it. I mean, go for it, whatever, experiment. But they have other products. I mean, they have WhatsApp and Instagram. I mean, I don't know if there's other places to put this, but they're putting a Facebook brand on it. Facebook has launched a brand new platform called Bars, where users can record short clips of themselves rapping and freestyling over beats. I don't think it's a terrible idea. It's just a Facebook component to it, where I'm like, even if Twitter did it, I'd kind of be like, I don't know.
Sure.
But SoundCloud or something like this,
That would make more sense.
now I'm starting to, like TikTok, each video is capped at 60 seconds. Once users finish recording their videos in the app, they can share them across various social media outlets. Users who come across freestyles they like can respond. So I think they want to get a piece of the musically aspect of TikTok. They license a bunch of songs, or at least the instrumentals. Everybody does their take on it and loves to watch one another rap. You know what I'm saying here?
Sure.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah. I mean, with rapping, there is like a tight-knit community, freestyle rapping.
But the thing, here's the thing though. I don't know that it's necessarily going after pre-existing rappers as much as it is trying to get the regular person to have fun. Like, it's almost, you know what I'm saying here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you can rap too. Just like TikTok try to make everybody dance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of a sudden it's like, why is this guy dancing?
Yeah.
Like, if it wasn't for TikTok, there's no way I'd be looking at this guy dancing right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm not going to name any names. I'm not going to name any names, but I'm just, it's almost like the platform exists to encourage people to do something kind of outside their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to end up happening here. I don't know how many real rappers are going to jump on Bars, but there will be some of them, and those will rise too. Unknown type rappers, and maybe something can happen with it. But again, that Facebook branding, you start to wonder sometimes. You have a brand that a lot of people know, but sometimes these associations go the wrong way to the point where they could have just called it, they could have left the Facebook part out.
Yeah. And just named it exclusively Bars. So you think it might
I don't know,
be
actually. They say a brand new platform called Bars. Is it inside of Facebook? Bars platform, Facebook. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know how Facebooky it's going to be.
Was there a jumping point from this? Previously would be like YouTube battle raps. Is there a correlation there?
I suppose, yeah. You could do remote battle rapping on here, like as a response.
Yeah.
For sure, you could. Yeah. Why not? Right? And then people could vote in the comments section. But the battle rap that's popular on YouTube is more traditional. It's the two people in the same space and a crowd hyping the thing up.
King of the Dot.
Yeah.
Grind time. Shout out.
Easy, Will. You might get yourself involved in something. You might get yourself involved in a battle rap. You never know, man. Anyway, Facebook wants a piece of it, whatever it is, and apparently they're jumping in. Some YouTube news, sticking with social media stuff for a second. I don't know if you must have seen this. YouTube is trying to get into the shorts situation as well. I did a tiny little experiment with it. I mean, you know how this goes. It's everybody's trying to do everything. It's just the way it feels now. It's like TikTok comes out, so then Instagram has Reels. Snapchat is hot, so then Instagram got Stories, and then Twitter got Fleets, and then YouTube got Shorts, and then YouTube had Stories prior to Shorts, and I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. It gets to a point with me where I'm like, and maybe it's just my lifestyle because I'm on these platforms and like I'm talking and I'm publishing and everything else. But it gets to a point where I'm like, man, I gotta repackage myself 47,000 different ways over here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gets to a point of exhaustion where it's like, which features on which app, and I get it. Everyone else is just having fun. They're having fun. All right. But that's kind of work for me to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. You know, because for me, fun for the most part, like outside of this, outside of work, is, you know, I'm with the family and things like this. I'm not, there's no fleets, man. There's no fleets in my life.
No.
There's no, now the thing is, I'm 200 years old. So that's fine. I understand the youngsters, they want the shorts and I don't care. If I don't mind being 200 years old. It's fine sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you embrace the 200 years old. And that's why I said this to you, that you know what? Let's put out long form.
Yeah.
Let's be the antidote to the attention compression, you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
The onslaught, the assault on your attention span, which is real. And let's have a conversation and let's be conversational and let's go long form with it.
For sure.
And do something different. So anyway, that's a tangent. That's definitely a tangent. Nonetheless, YouTube doesn't care about that tangent because there's a bunch of 17-year-olds who don't care about that tangent. And so you got YouTube, you got your YouTube Shorts, and it's here, and it's in the US, and you're going to see the beta button, and you can post on it right now. And as much as I went on a whole rant presenting the other side, let me give you this side. YouTube doesn't want to be left out. You guys want to use all these tools. You guys want to post in different ways. There's a lot of people, they don't feel like they want to post an hour-long conversation or a traditional YouTube video. Well, now you partake in YouTube. Everybody has a phone. The bar is now, there's more, the barrier to entry is lower if you can come in through Shorts. Some things I should mention here. There's no monetization on Shorts. You're not going to make any money off it. You can post 60 seconds if you see the beta there. This started in India. They rolled it out first, and now it's rolling out elsewhere. You will see it as a beta feature. The way to access it is on a shelf on the homepage, which you may or may not see, and you will then scroll through. YouTube,
can I see it on desktop?
I don't think you're going to see it on desktop. And what else should I mention? Portrait video, obviously. So that's another confusing aspect because YouTube has been at least the place where as far as video is concerned, the landscape has stayed alive as it's been crushed at almost everywhere else, all the other social media platforms. I don't know. You guys tell me. You guys tell me how you feel about it. Do you need more short form? Is it already abundantly available? What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you enjoy? I'm curious. Maybe they're loving the shorts. Maybe they're like, that's exactly what YouTube needs. I don't know. So it comes, you have once you get the beta feature, you can post from there. And then obviously you can get your music. It's essentially, it's TikTok. Well, it's TikTok inside of YouTube. And it has to be under 60 seconds. But I believe when I was looking at the features before I posted my test, they were looking for like 15 seconds. So whatever you bring, don't bring your attention. All right. Whatever you bring, don't bring more than 4 seconds before you swipe. Gatorade is embracing the technology segment here. Gatorade think they have, a special hydration product for elite athletes. You see the sponsorships. Will.
Okay.
You see when they come on the sideline after they win the championship and they dump the Gatorade over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because is there any better advertising than that?
Have you done that before?
No, I never did. I never did the dump.
You were dumped on?
No, I never got dumped on either because I never played at a level where you would have the Gatorade supplied you had to bring your own water bottle, all right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never played any sport at the level where the Gatorade was on the sideline.
I think football.
Football loves the Gatorade on the sideline. I played hockey, and in hockey you could have a water guy, but it would be like a case with independent water bottles in it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a giant jug or a giant barrel or whatever that
And you don't want
Gatorade
to dump it in the ice.
thing is.
Zamboni guy's just like yelling at you.
If you dump Gatorade all over the ice,
Yeah,
that's true.
it's not a
That's
good
another
situation.
aspect to think about. But anyway, dating back to some of my favorite advertising, talking about Michael Jordan days and things like this, Gatorade's just been a part of it. And how do you advance? How do you adapt the thing? And this is the way they're doing it, embracing technology. They've coming out with this smart patch that is going to measure your sweat and hydration. It's a one-time use. You're going to pick this up. You're going to order it on the internet or pick it up at Dick's Sporting Goods, and it's going to interact with your phone where you scan the patch, and it will give you some key stats on your fitness at that moment, your body essentially. Sodium and hydration levels, and it can do this based on your sweat after the workout. So you do the workout, it absorbs into the pad, you scan the pad, and then you get this feedback. You get your sweat profile results.
Cool.
And
you don't need to plug it in or anything.
No. It's just this little patch. The patch is $24.99 though, so it's not cheap. Wait, isn't that a one-time use wearable that analyzes sweat to provide athletes with insights about their athletic performance and hydration levels? So the way I look at it, you're not going to use it every workout, but you're going to use it a few times to see where you're at and just get an idea of if you're hydrating enough, or any kind of, I don't know, I guess if you saw some data in there that was concerning, you'd be like, oh, I'm doing something really wrong, or I don't know. I think that's the angle. But you know what the other angle is? Look, your results are crap. You're not hydrated as much as we want. Go buy some Gatorade.
Yeah, that is most likely the case.
You see how that works too, right? So from a marketing perspective, but nobody wants to be left behind. They want to be a part of the tech thing and want to embrace the technologies. I don't mind that. Gatorade is dominant, by the way, in terms of the U.S. sports drinks category. They got 72% of the market. They want to maintain that lead, You had, who'd you have? You had Powerade, and Body Armor is a new one. I think Body Armor was the one that Kobe Bryant was associated with, actually. R.I.P. Kobe. Here's another one. Apparently, Elon Musk is facing some Ambani challenge over there in India. It's a little bit of a race to do the Hyperloop thing first in India to connect some cities. And it has actually been a little bit since we talked about the Hyperloop as far as the variety of projects that Elon has been somewhat associated with. The Virgin Hyperloop, we've seen a test run. I've seen a test run. Actually, I think a clip might be linked in this particular article of an early test run. But now Indian billionaire Mukesh Ambani wants to be involved. He wants to partake. He has upped the stakes with an investment of $25.76 million in Skytran, acquiring a majority stake. And it's like Hyperloop. It will use the power of magnets to offer a carbon emissions free of traveling faster within urban cities. So the only difference, I read through this article, the only difference I could see was that Skytran, the company he invested in, was more interested in within the city type of transport, so slightly shorter distances, whereas Hyperloop is more like connecting cities, city to city type of speed. Of course, these things can travel. They successfully carried 2 humans through a tube. Hyperloop did it at 160 kilometers per hour, and it was magnetically levitated, the pod that they were sitting in. So they effectively did it. I got to admit, I watched the clip and I was like, that's cool. It was a little shaky. I know that sounds so nitpicky. I'm like, they're levitating and
they're traveling super quick,
160 kilometers and all the rest of it. But I just don't know if when it actually becomes commercially available. And I get it, because think about trains. They're not completely smooth, right?
Although bullet trains
they're pretty smooth. A bullet train would be what you're up against here.
I guess so, yeah.
But see, we never had much experience with the bullet trains around here. I really feel like I missed out on something in life.
Oh,
you must have bullet trained in Japan, I would guess.
From I think Tokyo to Kyoto or Osaka.
You were just a bullet.
And it was quick.
You were a bullet.
And you got the landscape on the side. Felt very good.
Wow. You're reminiscing right now.
Eating some bento.
Easy. Don't have too good of a time, man. Jeez. Everybody's trapped at home right now.
I know. I feel bad, but,
you're over there in Japan.
I'm living vicariously through my memories.
Your own memories. Wow, that's deep. Yeah, so those exist, but obviously in these places where they're goofing around, where they're experimenting with these magnetically levitated pods, those places don't typically have the high speed or the bullet trains anyway. Right, even in the U.S. or here in Canada or wherever some of the original proposals were coming from around Hyperloop. But it turns out India has become a battleground because there's a lot of people to move around and a future that needs to be built.
Yes.
And so there's a little bit of a head-to-head thing going on. I don't know that it's quite head-to-head because, like I said, they have a slightly different target. But nonetheless, it seems that there's a collision course between these moguls where everybody's trying to be a part of the future in similar ways, whether we're talking about Bezos, whether we're talking about Musk or Ambani, or it's all this diversity of projects.
Yes.
that you're involved in. And speaking of that, actually staying on the topic for a quick second, this is on the opposite end of the spectrum with India, the union minister making a pitch to offer cheaper production to Tesla than China. So here is India attempting to attract Tesla to manufacture in India and bring more Elon into the country over here. Now, the market is a little bit different than China. So there's not a lot of EVs as it stands right now in India. And Tesla just recently registered the name and set up the office down there in Bangalore. Mm-hmm. So they're coming to sell the product, but the question of manufacturing it, there's a whole different ball game, because I mean, we talked about the smartphone thing, but a car thing is a whole different. How many gigafactories even are there, right? You got 4 or 5. I don't know what it is. It's not a big nut. Berlin, Fremont, Nevada, Shanghai. I don't know of any others. I'm sure that maybe there's one more. I don't know.
Texas? Is there a gigafactory?
Oh, I said Nevada. Maybe there's not one in Nevada. They're building one in Texas, right, for the Cybertruck.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is they went into China because the marketplace, you're talking about the number one automotive marketplace in the world. So you go over there and you say to yourself, well, there's a huge potential customer base and we're already moving the vehicles around so much that we might as well make them here. And there's incentives as well to do so. Now, on India's side, they can make the incentive to manufacture there. They could say we can do it cheaper than China can do it, or that's the statement here. But then you need the buyer. Like, does it make sense? Is the buyer here, or are we going to have to then ship it to all these other countries having been made from here? Because with automotive, it's usually made around the corner, pretty close, unless you get one of those over there.
Yeah.
In which case, they travel a long way. But that's a small part of the market that behaves like that. So, like, you're buying the Toyota. It's from, where's it from? Alliston.
Is it?
Well, I'm just saying, like, they have a. I think, that's Honda. So I apologize. But you see where I'm going.
Sure, yeah.
It's, or we were talking about Hyundai the other day, how for the American market, they're down in Georgia, right?
If it's made locally, it needs to be bought locally.
It makes more sense, especially for the mass market. When it comes to automobiles, that's the way that it has been. And so let me just give you an idea of the demand in India, or at least what has been the demand up until now. India's EV market accounted for just 5,000 out of a total of 2.4 million cars sold in the country last year. 5,000 units, man. It's not a big number. You're talking about a place that sold 2.5 million, 2.5 million, 2.4 million cars in a year. Now, is it one of these chicken and the egg scenarios? You get Tesla there, you provide the incentives to manufacture there, brings the cost down, then people buy them? Maybe. Is it an infrastructure thing? Where do I charge it? Is it a electrical grid thing where people are concerned? Hey, because I got to tell you, man, when I was over there, the power went out. I'm just saying. I mean, the power goes out in a lot of places, but I had some rolling power, it was a bit of an experience. I was like,
one of those days.
Power's down right now for a bit. Okay. I mean, I don't know how much that would affect or impact my perspective when I'm going to spend some money on the vehicle. And of course, our fans in that part of the world, they can that are watching this, you can tell me what your position is on it or what might turn you off of an EV vehicle purchase. I'm curious to know, but it could be a chicken and egg scenario where this particular minister or this particular union minister, where he thinks, okay, we get the manufacturing here, and then we get the price down, and then we get the purchasing, then we get the investment, and we're off to the races. Maybe that's the angle. We'll have to wait and see. I do not know if you follow this story, the weirdest story. I just had to cover it because it's just so weird. Lady Gaga's dog walker describes harrowing attack as a very close call with death. What? What a weird story, man. You have a dog?
I do, yes.
You have a dog? The guy is walking the dogs. 3 French bulldogs, I think.
Lady Gaga's dogs.
And he's always walking the dogs. He's out there in LA. He's walking the dogs.
Sure. What you do.
Do what you do. And he gets approached. I saw the video. There's a video clip. You don't have to play it. I mean, it is what you expect. But the car rolls up. It's somebody's security camera. Car rolls up to the guy. 2 guys jump out. If you were looking for Otis, you just thought of your dog. He's laying over there on the couch. He's so cozy right now. You don't have to worry about him. Nobody's rolling up on him right now. Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. Anyway, they jump out the car, and there's a scuffle. Scuffle ensues. They're trying to take the bulldogs. And the dog walker is resisting. You can't take my dogs.
Yeah. He's fighting for them.
Absolutely. He's struggling. And one of them has a loaded weapon, one of the thieves, and shoots him over the dogs. And now you and I had this conversation, like, what is the protocol? You're a dog walker. Are you supposed to? I know you're not expecting this to happen. I don't know how common this is. I know those French bulldogs can cost a couple of dollars. But look at this. Pictures. I mean, it's I just don't know instinctually what I would do. I don't know what law enforcement would advise you to do. I think they would say, because the guys shoot him and then they got the dogs anyway.
They got 2 out of the 3 dogs.
So the thing is, what is the rule here? Like, do you let them have the dogs and then try to figure it out after? And as opposed to getting shot? Because, of course, Lady Gaga, after it all went down, she comes out and says, I'm going to give $500,000 to get these dogs back. And then the dogs show up back. Because I don't care how much you pay. I don't care how much you think you're going to sell a French bulldog for. It ain't $500,000.
By the way, the guy is alive. Did you mention that?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I mentioned that. Yeah, he got shot but not killed. Absolutely. I apologize. I should have said that. Actually, it would be a whole different story if that were the case. But he said he came close to death.
Manhunt.
He actually finally talked about what had occurred. He's been in really rough shape. He's like, it's not good stuff, man. Really rough shape over this. And we don't know too much about how the dogs came back. We just know that they were delivered by a woman, and not much else has been said at this point. I don't know what type of arrangements were made for such a thing. Either way, the dogs are back, so that's good. I don't know if the ransom was paid. I don't know if the whole thing was a ransom plot, if they knew whose dogs they were, or if they were just trying to just sell some dogs, like buy and or steal and sell. I don't know, man. It's such a weird. Anyway, my sympathy for to everybody affected. Obviously, it's really just a terrible. There's no other way to describe it. It's a terrible story. You're out for a walk with the dog, and then you see somebody latching onto the dog, and you love the dog.
I do, yeah.
You love the dog, and someone's latching onto the dog, and your instinct is like, what do you do? And then thank God the guy's not dead, but in a split-second moment, how are
Yeah.
Now, if it was a child, it's even elevated, obviously. If it's a child, then, oh my God, and that's life or death. But I'm curious what people think about the relationship there and how they might respond in a type of situation like that. I'm just being honest with it. Like, I don't And it's not even his. I'm sure he loves the dog, but it's not even his dog.
Right.
For the record, he's the dog walker, but I think he does have an intimate relationship.
For sure, yeah.
But anyway, shout out for the return. Shout out to the dogs and shout out to the dog walker. Get well soon. And please stop doing this, people. Like, you know.
Yeah.
What? Come on. We're taking the dogs now? I mean, taking the dogs now? I know it's rough out there, but geez. Oh, this is a wild one. A Nike executive recently left the company after a report went out that her son had a huge sneaker business, side business going on. Her son was known for being one of the biggest resellers on the West Coast. He was known by his name, West Coast Joe. And they put out, Bloomberg's Business Week put out a cover article exploring the story of Joe Herbert, who is the son of this particular Nike executive. He was a college dropout making a living as a sneaker reseller. I mean,
look at all these Yeezys.
Listen, do your thing, man. Do your thing. It's fine. I mean, I love this type of thing. I love the hustle and all this. But people are trying to connect the dots now in an attempt to figure out if he had some sort of if there was any shady business going on with the mother's relationship to Nike and the acquisition of certain Nike goods. And I guess, you know, it was just a lot of, well, people do what they do. They assume that there's something shady going on. But these are great photos. I mean, look at this. Just sneakers galore over here. Look at all these Jordans.
Hypnotic.
Those are off-white Jordan 5. I don't know, man. Those are probably cost a lot of money. And if his mother could help him through the correct channels, get his hands on it or not pay full price or whatever, you see how this can be problematic or a conflict.
Yep.
But I'm not, for the record, saying that's what happened. I'm going to leave it open-ended. I don't even know that Bloomberg is alleging such a thing. But now you have the correlation. Now you have the executive stepping down right after the article goes out. Granted, Nike themselves doesn't say, oh, that's the reason. But this executive had been there for 25 years. Now they got to find a new leader for North America. I mean, a big job, Will. I'm talking about a big job.
Yeah, it's very fishy.
Yeah, I'm just
Very
saying you get your spidey sense tingling over here.
It's tingling.
Yeah, you're tingling.
Yeah.
And it's fair to tingle right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there was any shady business. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It could just be maybe his business is booming so much he needs an executive.
Maybe he's just like a really good hustler.
But he needs to hire. Is it his mom or dad? Yeah, his mom. He needs to hire his mom to be his executive now on his board because the resale business is taking off.
Sure. Yeah. And this person and Herbert or Hebert probably knows a thing or two about Nike.
And sneakers, 25 years in the business. So shout out to the family. Look, man, as long as everything's legal, whatever, do your thing. I don't know enough about it, but a lot of alleged stuff going on here. Crazy story nonetheless. One more crazy story. Last story of the day. Man wins $500,000 using the numbers for the lottery. They're using the numbers that he got on in his fortune cookie. You imagine that, Will? Those, you know, you got the fortune cookie with the lucky numbers in it. I never look at that. I mean, I don't play the lottery. Do you look at that? Those numbers in there?
No.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
Apparently.
If you're this guy, you're supposed to look at these numbers, play them on the lottery, and make $500,000. The fortune cookie lived up to its name. The odds of winning 1 in 292 million. Ernesto Sorzano, his Chinese takeout dinner paid off big time. He played the set of lucky numbers inside the fortune cookie on a North Carolina Powerball ticket. And it was a $3 ticket, ended up matching 4 of the numbers and landing him $500,000. Says he's going to use it to purchase a house in North Carolina. And talk about having a better day than usual, especially the way the world is right now. You're just eating a nice little fortune cookie, looking at your numbers. You just had a nice meal. You look at those numbers. You say to yourself, those numbers are going to win right there. Right?
Yeah.
And you're digesting the meal. You go play the numbers. The following day or couple of days, you're remembering the nice meal as you check the numbers. What came back? You get the ticket check. You see the 500,000. You're gonna be eating a lot of Chinese food. I'll tell you what.